to start off this evening by introducing someone who describes himself as being like a grain of sand. But today he's achieved a lot more. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Alok Kumar, Managing Director of Sears IT and Management Services. So Sears IT and Management Services is a fully owned subsidiary of Sears Holding Corporation USA, and Alok was responsible for starting the company in India, which today has more than 1,000 technology and management professionals. The India unit, which he Sears in the areas of e-commerce, mobile technology, retail technology, and it maintains all these technologies round the clock. Prior to Sears, Alok was Senior Vice President and Head of IT Program Management of Reliance Industries. He has also been the CIO of Tata Rail Services Maharashtra and the CIO of UT Limited. Under Alok's leadership, Sears India has exceeded many benchmarks and standards and has generated an ROI of more than 50 times in the last 3 years. In addition, his team in India has developed new products and solutions for an external venture called MeterScale. These products enable quick and easy migration from legacy platforms at lower costs. In fact, his team has filed several patents and is now working with non-Sears clients to earn revenue. Alok is a published author with 2 books to his credit. He enjoys playing golf and traveling to new places when he has the time. So please welcome on stage Mr. Alok Kumar.
Good evening, and thank you very much for providing this opportunity to me to talk to you. The only difference between you and me here is that probably I have walked a few more steps and you are traversing on that path. I have been one of the few lucky people who became CEO from CIO. So 5 years back there was an article which came up, you became CEOs from CIO. I was shown there. It was a proud moment for me. And there was no IT Next award that time. Probably I would have been very happy to get awarded on those occasions too. But today, I'm here basically to share my experiences and probably give you some insight that how probably you can also walk in the same path and become a CEO. So, just a simple question. How many of you here, both the jury members and those award winners, really want to be CEO one day? That's very good because the role of the CIO is not changing. That's very, very evident. CIO is no more than being a CIO. They will be running their own business. They will be the CEOs of tomorrow by default. So if you do not start thinking like a CEO, working like a CEO, probably you will not be even a CIO. So that's the experience which I wanted to share and take you through a lot of my journey, how I reached there, what I did, my failures, my success, and some of the experiments which I did, which probably can be taken as one of the examples by some of you. But certainly I do not want to unnecessarily boast on some great things that I did. It's nothing like that. Probably I was very lucky to get right opportunities. The first question which you will have to ask all the time: how much value are you bringing to whosoever is paying? Your company, your organization, your customers. Now value is the most misunderstood word. Probably the same way the strategy is misunderstood in most of the management colleges. When I went to one of the premier colleges, IIM, to pick up some of the students, the strategy word was being dropped right from the peon at the gate to the professor. Okay, without actually knowing the meaning of strategy. And so is the right way, the value. The value is everybody talks, I am going to show value. I worked very hard to find what is the value. Came with a mathematical formula. It's very easy. Value is benefits divided by cost. Right. So when you get your increment every year, you become more expensive. Your cost goes up. And if your benefits are not increasing by default, you become less valuable than what you were in the previous year. I don't know whether you all will agree with me or not, but that's a very, very candid input. Now, it's just not about you. The organization, the ecosystem, everywhere around the world, people are trying the level best to increase the value by increasing the benefit, and desperately trying to reduce the cost. If you see around you, inventions, discoveries, automation is all about bringing down the cost, right? So the cost reduction in the United States started by outsourcing. It is very simple. I will use one man from $100 per hour to one man $10 per hour. It is 10 times cheaper. Now those days are slowly going away. We also want very good salaries, right? Who will not be wanting, seven-digit salary here? A 1 crore, 2 crore fancy salary. Obviously, we all wish to have that, good cars. But ultimately, it comes down to the same thing. What is the value? What is the benefit we have? You see, and you have to be very cautious about it. Even if you keep showing your value in terms of I'm working harder, few more hours, or maybe I have done some extra implementation, the value might get eliminated by somebody else working outside. They can immediately prove it. You are not needed. So this is where the role of the CIO and the CIO next start coming in. To be visualizers, not to be operational. Because your operational life is slowly getting to an end, and by the virtue of your experience, by the virtue of your knowledge, you start becoming strategists, and that is the true meaning of value for you. Because the strategy, what you do, is about bringing value to your organization. So, my own experience all the time, I was, I'm one of the very unique person because I was never trained in IT ever. I'm not an IT engineer. I'm basically a mechanical engineer. And my first computer in my life I saw in my first company. The first command of CD and DIR was when I was 1 year old in my company. And that's how I learned it. But the only difference was, IT is not about coding. IT is not about network. It's not about some boxes. IT is actually the benefit, what you give it to the end customer through automation, by the means of doing things better. This is where you bring your value. And this is where probably I think, because my 4 years, 5 years in hardcore business, when I say business, I was working in a factory. My first job was with today's Caterpillar India, which was in Istanbul. And I was a quality control engineer. My job was to basically go under the vehicles, see if the oil is leaking, if the nut is tight, and if the drawings are, exactly to the dimensions. My first experiment started because my boss always used to tell me, go and check this component. So every time I realized that every quality engineer is taking a blank sheet, writing all the dimensions there, and then going, rechecking and putting okay note on it. So typically they ended up spending half the time in writing sheets again and again. So that was the challenge. I said, I refuse. I will not do that. It's a wasteful activity. And that's where I started my first language, the D-Base. And most of you know D-Base, the old, language, most darling language of most of the world is sitting here. And then graduated to Clipper and C and then whatnot. Created the first ERP. Total end-to-end ERP with my career. A total home learning. The only difference was, I was a business analyst, I was a business. I was the coder, quality tester, implementer, and the consumer. So that was that time for it. But then very soon, by the virtue of having success, a lot of people started coming, asking, giving more opportunity. And this is where I take a step back and then see why most of the people are not so successful. They aspire to be CEOs, they aspire to be CIOs, but somewhere down the line, things don't work out. So in my experience, it came out, there are basically 3 elements which come out for you to show your value. One is your right opportunity. If you do not have the right opportunity, obviously you can't show the value. And that's where everyone is right now here. This is a forum where you figure out who is having better opportunity, what I can do, what I cannot do. The second is very, very important, the right mentor. Mentoring is, I would say, we all have one life, we all have one career. Time passes by. If we do not get the right direction, it is very, very obvious that we miss the bus. So, mentoring becomes one of the key elements of success. In olden time, Gurukul, the Gurus used to spend their entire 25 years along with 20 years along with the student, giving them everything. They wanted them to copy them. They wanted to basically share each and every experience of theirs. But today it's not possible. Today you end up having a boss for a few years, either he designs or you design or everything changes. But then in the given circumstances and constraints, your best mentor is your boss. So I think if you have a good boss, you are lucky. If you do not have a good boss, look for another job. Because boss is not a choice. And the third one is, like you. Now, you are a very important person. The most important person is you. But unfortunately, most of us, by the virtue of our social standing, the way we are, we think about ourselves in the end, or maybe in a different way. I have written a couple of books. I keep writing papers. My first book was on very unusual subject for handwriting analysis. Because all the time, things intrigue me to figure out how human psychology is. Why do people behave the way they behave? Why can't they change? Why can't they take challenges more than what they do? And based on that, I wrote a book called Handwriting Speaks. Now this is about basically how to read handwriting. But beyond that, I kept on doing a lot of research apart from my work. The purpose of research was not to satisfy my internal ego, but to make sure that how I implement it in my day-to-day work and get best out of it. I came up with 6 clear reasons of making myself right. And the first and the most important thing is the happiness. Now, I do a lot of lecture. I go to a lot of colleges. I speak to students, and I ask them, like I ask many of them, how many you want to become CEO? And most of you raise your hand. When I ask students, what do you want to be in your life? Most of them, they reply, I want to be some CEO. I want to be a businessman. I want to be an architect. I want to be a banker. They keep on telling. But they do not realize that they are identifying themselves with 8 hours and 5 days a week of their life as themselves. And this is the biggest fallacy what most of us have. I realized it much later in life. After losing that actually the 8 hours, 5 days a week and 30 years or 25 years of a lifetime actually constitute 10 to 12% of our whole life. And we focus on that 10 to 12%, leaving the remaining 90%. And that's the reason for most of the unhappiness. And if you are unhappy, obviously you can't achieve your goals. You can't become CIO or CEO or anything. You can't even become you yourself. And that's the most important. And that's something which is, I wanted to tell you, the 6 elements of actually being happy. And I'm trying it myself. I have done it now. I have seen success. Most important is passion. You want to be CIO or CEO. If you do not have passion to do something of that kind, it will take you to that level. Forget about the growth. Because eventually, you become redundant. You will be eliminated by some other invention discovery happening at other corner of the world. You have to develop it. And passion doesn't come overnight. You can't dream it. You have to work for it. And passion gets developed when you actually keep trying. You get dejected, you get upset, but eventually when you start having success, start finding interest out of it, and you become passionate. And that passion takes you to the next level of glory. That's where people start identifying you as a different person. The second, very, very important, is communication. People are passionate, they do a lot of good things, but they do not communicate. It's a very famous saying. Many things in life are lost for a want of asking. You end up not asking, you end up not telling, you end up keeping it to yourself, you do not communicate. You lose many things. Most of the folks here would be feeling very, very jittery when you go to your boss asking for your annual increment or annual appraisal. And that's the only time when you brush up with your communication skill. When I say communication is not about English language, it's about an ability to express yourself so that the other person knows what you want, what you really want to convey. By the virtue of our society, we have been taught, do not ask questions. That's where the first list of communication problems start. When I was a kid, every time I asked my father a question, Papa, what is it? Keep quiet. Papa, what is it? Shut up. After some time, I thought my name is shut up. Okay. That's where the society is all about. It's so different today. But remember, most of us are not today. We we have been born and brought up in different societies, we have been taught different. Come out of that, start asking questions, start being more communicative. Third very important element which I discovered was prioritizing. I think I did not explain. Most of the people who are here, they understand that's why you are here. You prioritize your things, you are successful. You come on this platform because you have been able to do things differently. But remember, at times we put our profession ahead of our personal goals, and that overshadows our professional goals and eventually make us unsuccessful. Fourth is health. Again, many of us would really love, smoking, drinking, night owls, enjoying ourselves, good. But you see, remember, we have one body. After the age of 40, 45, it has become a kind of a fashion statement. I was in a CEO summit in Delhi, and the only discussion which was happening was, hey, do you have a blood pressure? My sugar is at this level, And people were talking with pride because having sugar and blood pressure is something which shows that you have taken that stress and you got it. So it becomes a status symbol. You without blood pressure, sugar, how you can become a CEO? Okay? And that's something which I say, fine, because most of them there, either I have blood pressure, or I have sugar, or I have something else. The thing is, health is wealth, that is the old saying. Most of us ignore it by the virtue of telling you too much work pressure, no worry. Do not ignore it, because forget your future. You will have no future for your career to CIO or CEO. The fifth one is what ethics, very important. I realized it much later. I am a CEO, and I have to handle multiple companies. I handle 3 different companies, 3 different geographies. And the most important thing is that I have to follow ethics. Initially it was forced upon me. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. But eventually I realized, my God, your bad reputation reaches much before you yourself reach anywhere. You do anything wrong. You go for an interview. The HR manager would know about your bad deeds first, even before you open your mouth. So remember, make sure whatever you do it right. Whatever you do for right. Do not ever try to compromise on right things. And that is the only thing which will actually make you reach to the topmost level. Believe me, when I was appointed as the head of the operations for Sears, I became managing director much later. There was an offer given to me by one person, 25 lakh. Please take it, it's yours. I came back to my it doesn't belong to me. I can't take it. Oh no, everybody takes it. It's nothing, I'll give you in cash, nobody ever gets to know. I said, no, it doesn't belong to me. I can't take it. But if you are really so much interested in giving me this benefit, why do not you give this benefit back to my company? And that guy was so obliged, he did that. He did that much more. Until today, we have a great relationship. Now suddenly what happened? There was another background check which was happening. And my parent organization ended up putting a lawyer to find out how clean I am. Because in America, most of the people are so, question marking with respect to the ethics of it. They said, no, we will not make you MD of a company. They wanted not to give me signing authority. But then those guys came back. And this person who offered me openly told, but I offered him 25 lakh. He didn't take, he did this, and in turn I gave the benefit back to the company. The very next week I was appointed as MD of the company with unlimited signing authority. So imagine, and even today, every time there is a growth, they put me in the lead. They put me in the front. And this is where the difference is. Ethics is not about your doing ethics inside you. At least you can speak peacefully. And finally, most important, be lucky. Now luck is a very big thing. Most of you would feel luck is divine, right? How many of you really feel luck is God given? I think very few. That's good, because luck is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you feel lucky, you are lucky. If you feel unlucky, you will be unlucky. Now, what is luck? Creating a network, what you are doing right here. Create a network of people who can help you when you are in need, who can guide you, who can mentor you, who can take you to the next level. You become lucky. Think positive. When you talk positive, think positive. You attract people. When you talk negative, people do not want to come and sit beside you. You cry, people will run away. You laugh, you will bring people along. Know how to handle negativity. Because God has given equal good and bad to everyone, right from the most richest to the poorest. Only thing is, how do we handle that negativity in life? Learn how to do it. manage it perfectly well, you are going to be lucky. And the most important thing, believe in your hunch. What's your hunch? Hunch is nothing but the values you and your parents have put in you since your childhood. That's the hunch. I give one very, very nice example. A toddler, a snake is put in front of a toddler, 6 months old. What is he going to do? Might end up playing with the snake. Because the toddler doesn't know what snake is. And if I put a snake right in front of you today, everybody will jump. Without even thinking. Because all our life we have been taught, snake is dangerous, snake is poison. And that's what is hunch. You get back a feeling, I am doing right, I am doing wrong. Believe in it. Because that are the values which come back to you telling what's right and wrong. Because if you are going to do all of that, I assure you, you will rise much faster than what you can. That's the right way to grow up, that's the right way to become a CIO, CEO, MD or anything. So I explain about my own experience. How did I reach here? Quickly, going to a couple of things when I joined in my company, first company, Caterpillar, today, the mechanical engineer. Fought my way out, learned myself. I didn't have any formal education in IT, but I learned it myself. Second job, I got an opportunity because my boss told, you have a great opportunity there because there is no computer value. There is not a single computer in the whole company. If you go, you can do something big. Now, the natural and the common wisdom says, hey, why you are getting to something which is actually way down? You can't learn it. That was in Kolkata. The name of the company was UD Limited. It's a very interesting experience. I took the job and went there. It was like shabby company. Chairs and tables were also shaking. And the very second day, the union leader along with 5 people came inside my room, put a pistol on my head and said in Bangla, 24 घंटा मुझे यहाँ के चले जाओ, माता अपना माता गोली दे दो. Means within 24 hours leave the city or else I'll kill you. Right. That was that first experience. Now imagine coming from a good company like Caterpillar, landing up somewhere in Kolkata, not knowing the language. Somebody comes, I'll kill you. What are you going to do? You say, my God, it's the worst decision in my life. But then either you face it or you get out. My choice was to face it because I had no plan B. I was a poor guy, there is a salary. Okay. I thought if I leave this job, I don't know where next month my family will feed from. But that's a very basic problem. I don't know. I take the bull by the horn. I went back to the same guy, union leader, and asked him, tell me why you're so worried, why you want to kill me. He said, we are going to take away our jobs once you come to try it. After that, I realized what was there. Sat with them, and believe me, that was the first company in West Bengal where the union sat with me to create a ERP system and implement it. That became one of the unique case studies of Indian Store Management even today. Both systems keep running still. Everything still is the same, they're not changed after that. And I went there 2 years back, same union leaders still embracing it. They say, this is a unique experience. We not only loved it, we enjoyed it, we created something. So that is where I wanted to create a value. It happened this way. I had no choice. I took the bait, did something different. Moved on, joined Reliance. I was lucky to get real good mentors. My boss, Ashish Chauhan, most of you will know, is now MD of Bombay Stock Exchange, PSC. He mentored me. The same way you saw here, tempered me. Made me work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And once in a while I used to literally curse him. And I used to tell my wife, I think the last thing in my life is just that. I don't want to even see his face when I get out of this company. But today, he is one of the most respected also. Because what I am, because of his mentorship. And that's where I am asking all of you, if you find a mentor like that, somebody who will drive you to the wall, make you feel you are helpless, but then to force you to find a way out. And that's the way to move up to the CEO level. So dear friends, this is what I want to tell you. Finally, now here, already my company has 1,000 people. Sears also, when I joined, it was one of the same experience. I had to fight out every day. I had to fight big names like Infosys, Wipro. But with the help of people, we created something very big. Today we are 1,000+ company. A lot of awards and rewards we have won. We have started our own outside company. And I think we have miles to go before we call it quits. And I look forward for you all to do something like this. Thank you very much.